Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to give you a couple of tips and tricks how you can make your language learning process a lot more enjoyable, fun and easier so that you won't even have time to realize that you're learning. Those are tips that really help me and that I always use in every language learning I did up until now. I employed those things for myself, so I think these tips can also benefit you a lot. Okay, let's get right into it. Tip numero uno. As you've heard probably tons of times if you've been watching my videos, I'm a big advocate of music, listening to music to learn a language. And this is what I did for the most time. Just listen to any kind of music in the language you're learning. What I really suggest and recommend is also looking at the song lyrics and trying to sing along with the song, trying to understand the song first of all. And you can always find translations of songs on the internet. And once you kind of have the theme of the song, you know what it's about, it's much more easier to get words and understand them. What I used to do, as I said, is look at the lyrics and sing along with the song. And if there were any words I didn't understand, well, most probably in the beginning there's probably going to be like 90%, 80% of words that you won't understand, of vocab that you've probably never seen, but that's a good thing because you can look up all the vocabulary. And once you look up the vocabulary, it's much more easier to recognize it in other songs. So like that, you actually gain much more vocabulary than you would have thought because it's not conscious and you're basically having fun listening and dancing to your favorite songs. Okay, tip número dos. Number two is also a huge tip that I really recommend, and that is film and series. So watching movies and series in the language that you're learning. In any kind of languages, there are always movies and series that you can look up on the internet as well. I've been getting a lot of questions about which websites are the best to watch movies or series in a foreign language. I really can't recommend you any website specifically because I always just go on Google and type in, for example, a series that I really enjoy watching in English in the original version that I would like to watch in Italian, for example. Then I would just type in, I don't know, Desperate Housewives in Italian. And like that, I get the Italian version of Desperate Housewives or whatever series you're watching, okay? As I said, I used to watch telenovelas, for example, a lot, and especially Brazilian ones. So with the telenovelas, I basically just look for them online, and once you find one, you will find all the rest of them because usually on one website.
Anything on the web from the internet as well, I'm up.
Okay, excuse me, Siri just turned on my phone and repeated what I said. Okay, so this is what I do. I just type in on Google the series I want to watch, or just type in Brazilian series or whatever. For example, there is one right now on Netflix which is called 3000 or something like that. Well, so that is what I was looking for. So instead of watching it in English, I look for the original version in Portuguese. I find them on any random websites. Any websites can have the version that you're looking for. I can't really recommend you any websites because I look all over the place and I have so many different, I don't even remember them because it's always it's like the streaming websites, it's always some random website. So that's what I do. And okay, for the third thing is basically get something that you can always note or write your vocabulary in. I always used to get kind of like a notebook like this, this little notebook, and whatever vocabulary I had or whatever grammar I was studying, whatever really, when I used to hear a word that I didn't know and I looked it up, anything that relates to the language basically, and you want to put like a little note or write something down just get a notebook. I would recommend specifically just for that language, that you just use solely for that purpose and not any other thing. So you know that, okay, this is my Italian book, this is my Portuguese book. So anything that comes to my mind, or any vocabulary, new vocabulary I hear or explanation I get, I will write it and note it down in this little thing here. You can also do it on your phone, but I find it more convenient to have this little notebook where you can really look it through. And what I used to do also is, once this is full and you advance in your language learning, you can always go back and see how you actually advance, because it's good to see your progress. So like that, you stay motivated and keep on learning. And yeah, that's what I used to do. So I used to write all the vocabulary stuff and things like, for example, verbs and stuff like that, grammatical things. And when I went back, I really saw my progress, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is so easy. At the time, I wrote down things obviously that I didn't know, but like a year later, I was like, this is so easy. So because I knew everything. So número 4. Any kind of device that you have, let's say your mobile phone, your computer, if you're daring, you can switch the language. I used to do that with my mobile phone. I used to switch it into French, because I find it very easy. And you always have to remember, obviously, how to go back to settings and switch it back if you want to have it in your original language. But I find this really useful and helpful, especially because you are getting used to new words. It's very unconscious. And if you have your Facebook, for example, also, or any kind of app in another language, it's really helpful to get new vocabulary. And once you get used to this vocabulary, it's easy for you, because you will know what the normal settings and what normal stuff that is usually on your phone that you don't really like think about, what it means in another language. And that's really fun. So, and you can switch your computer too, but obviously those are more technical words that you wouldn't necessarily use on a day-to-day basis, like settings or things like that, things that you look for on your mobile phone. But I still recommend doing this just to get like a feel for the language. Okay, número 5. This is like the major tip for me. I always try to surround myself with people who speak the language I'm learning. If you don't have the opportunity to do that, that's why I recommend listening to music and watching movies or series, because you have to get used to the sound of the language as much as possible. How I do that, yeah, is basically through friends. I'm very blessed to be in an international environment where I'm surrounded by tons of different nationalities, people speaking different languages from all over the world. I live in a multicultural city, so everywhere where you go, you meet people from all over. And what I used to do from the beginning is always try to surround myself as much as possible with people who speak the language that I'm currently learning. That means when I came here, I tried to avoid Germans because I did not want to speak German, because obviously I'm from Germany, so I can speak German at home. I speak German with my friends back from Germany, so I speak German like daily, like with my family. So I don't need to speak German while I'm here in France, because obviously I want to improve my French. So that's why I try to avoid German as much as possible and not hanging with Germans. And it's okay like to meet, obviously when you're in a foreign country you want to meet people of your own kind, because everything is new, you have to get adapted and stuff. So you tend to like cling onto your culture and cling onto your people. But I'm the opposite. I tend to like not be that much surrounded with familiar things. So I always like to, with my Spanish, for example, I have a lot of Spanish Latin American friends, So obviously with them, I try from the beginning, I try to speak Spanish, and I always insist in speaking Spanish with them. They speak French too, but from the beginning we are used to speaking Spanish to each other. Or for example, with my Brazilian friends, we speak Portuguese. I made them get used to it and get comfortable to speak their language with me, because from the beginning I was always like, oh, let's not speak French, let's speak in your language. So, and obviously that's their native language, so they feel more comfortable expressing themselves in their language, and I want to learn their language. So that's why everyone is happy at the end of the day. And if you haven't noticed, anyone that has a boyfriend or girlfriend from another country or culture that speaks another language, or a husband, wife, when they move to the other country, they pick up everything so quickly. Like, if you want to learn French, then get yourself a French boyfriend, or because that's really the truth, because you're in that environment where you're forced to speak it daily, so you will pick up things so much quicker. If you can go and look for a French boyfriend or girlfriend, then get yourself French friends. So basically what I'm saying is, surround yourself with people who speak that language. And when you watch movies or series and listen to music, this is only training your listening skills. You obviously also have to train your speaking skills, and that's only the case if you try to speak as much as possible with natives. If you have any other tips, just please leave them down the comment box below. I'm curious to know what helps you, how you make your language learning process much more fun. I always get questions like, how many hours a day did you study grammar, or how many hours a day did you study this and speak and then that, and I'm like, I don't go about language learning like that. Like, I don't sit down and be like, okay, today I need to study 2 hours, or like tomorrow like 3 hours. I never did that. Like, just whenever I feel like it, I just sit down and like watch a movie or series, and that's it. And like that I learn basically. So I'm not really sitting down to study per se. That is boring, obviously, so I don't do that. I basically did what I just told you with the tips. I just speak with friends. It's easy like that. And the other tips, like I watch movies, series, that's fun. So there's nothing really much like stressful or hard about it. That's why I don't get it, why people are like, oh, it's so hard, it's so stressed, it's like a burden, but it's supposed to be fun. So yeah, I hope those tips help you, and thank you so much for watching. And please don't forget to subscribe, click that thumbs up button, and also that little bell that is next to the subscribe button. Like that, you will be notified of each and every video that I post up, and you will be the first to see it. So don't forget, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.